Welcome to the Redeemer University podcast. I'm your host, Zach, and today we are going to be talking with Mercel and Andreea. Mercel is an alumni of the social work program here at Redeemer, and Andreea is currently a fourth-year student who transferred to Redeemer into our social work program. Together, we discuss some of their favorite parts about the social work program here at Redeemer, from classes to internships, and also the importance of Christian worldview in the context of social work. If it is your first time here, make sure to like and subscribe. Find us on your favorite podcast platform of choice. Check out some of our other episodes that will explore various aspects of Redeemer, Christian education, and so much more. Thank you for making us part of your day, and with that, here we go! Hello and welcome into another episode of the Redeemer University podcast. I am so excited today. We are talking about the Redeemer social work program. We're going to talk about what it's like to be a Redeemer social work student. Where does Christian worldview fit into that? Also, later on in the episode, and there are timestamps below, we're going to talk about some kind of breaking news about the Redeemer social work program. We're excited to. And I am thrilled to bring on with me Andreea, who is a current fourth-year social work student at Redeemer, and also Mercel, who is an alumni at Redeemer, and we're going to get to know them a little bit here. But ladies, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Andreea, how are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Awesome. And Mercel, yourself?
I'm pretty good. I'm also very excited just to talk about social work. I love social work.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Well, let's maybe start with that. Mercel, maybe could you let anyone listening know, when did you graduate Redeemer, and what are you kind of doing right now?
Yeah, so I graduated Redeemer May 2023, so very recently.
Very recent.
And right now, I am doing two pretty big things in my life. So one, I'm working at a nonprofit called Fight for Freedom,
Cool.
part-time, which is fine, but it's a great organization. We're Christian-based as well. And we focus on advocating and supporting victims and survivors of human trafficking.
Wow.
So that role is pretty cool because I'm learning more about that side of social work and the nonprofit side, but then I'm also serving God in that way too, which is pretty awesome to me. I'm a missionary with the organization, so I love giving myself that title. I'm like, okay, I've always wanted to be a missionary. Like, missions work doesn't need to be overseas. Like, I can do this from like my community and serve my community locally. So that's super cool. And then the second thing is I'm doing my master's of social work at Dordt University. So I started the end of August, and I will be finishing my master's at the end of next December.
That's very exciting. Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And Andreea, I know, how's the social work program been going for you? You're in your fourth year. Are you currently involved in some internships or anything like that?
Yeah, so I am currently in my second last semester. It is the final stretch of the social work program, and I am currently in a internship with Fight for
Oh, no
Freedom,
way.
actually. And yeah, so Marcel is actually like my point person, and so it has been really, really cool to work for such an amazing organization that has such a great impact in our communities. And so I'm really excited about that. And it's my second internship. So I'm gearing up with all kind of experience. And I'm really just loving the dynamic of in class learning with really doing the things in the field. And so that is very exciting and so much fun. And working alongside Mercel is so much fun. Like, we have the best coffee chat.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
That's
totally
so,
love
and
it.
yeah, just we'll maybe touch on that. So you guys were a year apart in the program, but did you have a lot of courses together? How did you? I know you guys are friends outside of the program, but how did meeting in the program kind of impact your friendship to this date?
That's a good question. I feel like we talk a lot about social work, and I think we have had a few classes together, um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like social work really translates into our friendship. Where like
Hmm.
we're talking about what we learn and then also applying it into our friendship, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like it's been one of those things that like you can have very good conversations and been able to like connect on a different level while being in the classroom, but also just like outside and just being able to support each other, whether that look in different ways, and just be kind of like a soundboard, but also just a really good friend. And so I'm really excited that I got to meet Marcel at Redeemer while he was here. So that's how it started, but it's honestly evolved so
Sort
much
of a
more.
how it started, how it's going situation meme. Sort of.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, that's great.
Yes.
And what about could you maybe I'm going to ask you guys to think back a little
Mm.
bit here. What made you want to actually apply for the social work program at Redeemer? How did you hear about it? Did you know people that did the program before you did? That sort of thing. Well, maybe start with you, Andrea.
So I'm actually a transfer student from
Right.
Humber, and so I had done previous work within the secular, education system, and so I was really looking for a
Oh,
Christian
cool.
perspective, as I've been a Christian my whole life, but never really thought the two could kind of go together, and so Redeemer was. Honestly, a prayer
Hmm.
answered. I stumbled upon it and kind of took the reins and applied. Came and saw Redeemer and was set and ready to go for what I wanted. I wanted a smaller school with a faith background in terms of finishing off what I wanted to do in terms of social work.
Awesome. And Marcel, yourself?
Yeah, I graduated high school 2019, was not planning on going to university. I was thinking about taking a gap year, but like I wasn't set on just going straight back into school. Um, I heard about Redeemer, I think through a conference in Ottawa, where I'm from.
Okay.
Um, and then I was like, okay, I'll look into it. There's no fee to apply. Looked into it. Originally got accepted into the Biblical and Theological Studies program. And I was double majoring at the time with media and communications.
I remember
And
that.
then in
Yeah.
my second year, yeah, we were in, I think, a few classes together. But in my second year, out of nowhere, I was like, why don't I try social work? Like, let's switch into that. Because the whole reason I wanted to pursue biblical and theological studies was to become a missionary future
Yeah.
in the future. But then I realized I was like, I don't need that title to really be a missionary. Like, I can use my social work skills that I'll learn in this program and apply that into everyday practice, which is still like missional living. Um, Switched into the program, absolutely loved it, kept my media communications as a minor, and then everything just worked out. Like everyone was like, "Oh, why would you pick those two like programs like to go together? They don't go together." And I was like, "Just wait and watch." And basically, like my position now is like those two things mixed together.
That's awesome. And for the record, I majored in media and minored in social work, so they definitely do
They
go.
go
They go
together.
together. They go.
Yes.
But no, that's
Yeah.
great, and thanks for sharing, both of you. And you obviously different stories that brought you to Redeemer and studying social work. So let's maybe talk a little bit about that, because I know a lot of people think social work and they think it's the helping profession. They think it's working with homeless people or working with people who have special needs, or maybe it's working with the elderly, or maybe it's working with children, maybe it's working in hospitals, or maybe it's being a missionary. And the reality is social work is a very broad field of study. And I know you guys working for the same organization in an internship perspective, but what let's start with this. Between yourselves and also some of your colleagues in the social work program at Redeemer, what have been some of the things that Redeemer students have been involved with within the program? Can you think of any?
Yeah, so I can kind of say, there's been different ways that people are able to work with different organizations. Being in the internships and having two opportunities, if you're doing this as an honors stream, it's been really cool to see people working in different capacities, whether that is working with individuals like you have mentioned in those rooms, but also very different, like the population that we work with at Fight for Freedom isn't necessarily, what you first think of. So I think that's really
Definitely.
cool. But there has been other um, places that people have shared, whether that is working within schools and working with or after school programs, the Indigenous program that is on the reserve in Caledonia, and stuff like that, that has been shared with me just based on previous experiences of other students. And so that really looks different based on what the interest is. From a student perspective and what they want to do. My previous internship was at Learning Services
Oh,
at Redeemer. So I really love that visibility aspect, but wanted to go out of my comfort zone. So that's where this kind of space has come in for me.
very cool. Very cool. Yeah. And Marcel, anything to add from your experiences?
Yeah, I just want to echo what Andrea said about like the different areas you can go into, like just terms of in terms of internships. Like I've seen a lot of people working even for admissions as a social work intern,
Hmm.
working for like learning services like Andrea did. I've worked for two youth organizations.
Cool.
Same like they had basically the same values but worked very differently, which was just super interesting to see and like um, work outside of internships. Like I've worked for group homes for adults with disabilities, and my friends have done the same thing. But then comparing the two, like they have different values and different ways
Yeah.
of uh, of approaching the issue or approaching the situation. So I don't know. It's just very different from person to person, and it really depends on the experience you take out of it, I think.
Yeah, no, that's a great
Oh, for sure.
perspective to have. And one of the things I appreciate about the program is because there is an opportunity for two internships. You hear of people saying, I'd like my internships to be kind of different so that I get experience working with different groups, working in different environments. And that's something that I think is very valuable for any of our Redeemer social work students for sure. um, let's maybe connect that a little bit. Could you speak to what are in your, so each of you have, been involved with internships. What are some of the things you've learned in the classroom that you've had to apply to your internship and an area where you've been working? Marcel, we'll start
I
with,
have,
yeah.
yeah, I have actually used a lot of what I've learned in the classroom into just like everyday practice, especially my social work internships and work itself. I remember my first year of internship, I was taking social work groups and teams with Dr. Vanderwood.
Yes.
And I was also doing my
Yes.
internship at the same time. And my first internship was with it was with Ancaster Community Services with their youth engagement program, which is groups and teams. And everything that I learned in Vanderwood's class, I could apply into my internship because I was leading groups, I was leading teams, I was leading activities. Um, and it was everything that I learned in that class. So that was just super cool to me, like seeing how much it applied to everyday practice. And then the second internship I did, I used those skills as well. And then I also used skills that I had, I think, what class was it? It was with Dr. Vanderweerd again, Poverty and Perspectives. I was working at The Rock, downtown Hamilton.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but
yeah.
we like have worked. Yeah, like we worked with like a whole range of youth and like different issues. Youth experiencing poverty, youth experiencing homelessness, mental health issues, all of that. So I could apply everything that I learned in Poverty and Perspectives into that internship because I understood like, okay, so this is what happened in their life, and then that's what's leading. That is why they're leading to this kind of life, if that makes sense. And just so many dots were connecting, and like everything was just a huge web of social work that, like, I don't know. It's insane to me thinking back because I'm like, I could have used this in this situation. Like, I can still do this. And there's still so much more to learn.
Definitely. Yeah. Andreea, yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say that like my absolute favorite class that I have taken at Redeemer is groups and teams. I actually took this with Mercel, so we got to learn together, and it was a really, really cool experience just based on the kind of things that we were learning on how to um, create different workshops and things like that. And I spent, so last semester when I was with Learning Services, I ran a Study Smart seminar. On how to prepare for exams. And so those skills, along with many others in terms of interview skills and things like that, when I was working one-on-one with students and helping them with their academic journeys. Obviously, being able to ask the right questions and being able to listen well and use those skills that are just the foundation of what we do as being, the hands and feet of Jesus and going out and reaching out to those individuals. I got to see it in that way, and being able to connect with this team here at Fight for Freedom and seeing how we can work together based on just the different individuals that are within the space, and each of us come with our own gifts and are just able to support each other and use those skills. It's like, yeah, social media is something I really love to do, and that's great, but how can I do that to make an impact? And so I've been able to do that as a communications intern and put those together in terms of, okay, yeah, like you're doing these very social work kind of work, but there's a lot of back end that goes into just creating those spaces for the individuals that we serve and what that looks like, and just being able to like really, I'm echoing this because it really does show like a web of just information and different things that you can pick and choose and put into your toolbox to kind of serve whoever you end up working with. And so that has been really cool to see that already. And just from previous experience myself, it's like there's always so much to learn, and there's so much that you're constantly having to just pick and choose and work on yourself and work as other individuals alongside you. So growing and doing that has been so cool.
Those are both fantastic examples of taking what you learn in the classroom and applying it to real life, right? Applying it outside of the classroom. And thank you both for sharing that. That's fantastic. And I appreciate when I took certain social work courses like groups or working with individuals, I appreciated that there were some people in the classroom that openly said, like, I am new to this. I am new to leading a group, right? And I remember we did a mock group of we were leading a seminar on resume building and job seeking for formerly incarcerated men. And our whole group, like the whole class, we helped reenact this, and it was fun for sure, but it was also a valuable learning experience. And it could be learning about, different history of like AA or different groups that have used different techniques. And Andrea, you use that term, toolbox. I know that's a very social work savvy terminology at Redeemer of what do you have in your toolbox, what tools do you have that you can use to help make a difference in people's lives, for sure. And whether that's active listening or probing questions, right? Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's get into talking a little more specific. And I'm excited to hear your guys' answer to this, because I know it can be different. But where does a Christian worldview fit in the discipline of social work? Who wants to go first?
Yeah. There's a lot of controversy with that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, personally, this is something that's been used in our like social work grad class, but having Jesus informed practice is the way that a lot of us want to be as social workers. Just because in classes, again, like there's been so many debates about like, are you going to work with this population, or are you going to like exclude them from everything because you don't believe in the same lifestyles that they do? So it's really tricky to fit it in. But from what I've learned in like all of my classes is like, again, living the way Jesus did. Like Jesus loved the marginalized, he loved the oppressed, he loved everyone. And like, that's something that should be reflected into our practice 100%, no matter if you have differing worldviews. Like the way that you act and just acting as Christian people towards others is good enough, I think. And it's just again, everyday actions showing that you are Christian, like speaks volumes, even if you're not upright saying, I'm a Christian, this is what I believe in. Like a lot of that is just translated in the way that you act around others.
Yeah. Anything to add, Andrea?
Yeah, so I would very much say it is, being, like I said, being the feet and hands of Jesus, and going out and doing those things, and your actions are going to echo what you are about and what you want to do, and doing that in a Christ led way has really been, such an amazing experience. And like I said, I came to Redeemer to get this kind of experience. So as much as it is not so black and white in terms of what that looks like within, the field and being a Christian, I think it really strengthens not only my faith, but also what I do outside of the classroom. Whether that is connecting with people that I wouldn't necessarily, maybe agree with, and like learning in like my diversity class of what that may look like, because I'll be like, I'm not sure if I can do this. Like, this feels a little off. And like seeing that and learning, through some of the core courses, like missions I'm taking this semester, and seeing like what that looked like from, the beginning. And it doesn't often look the same as it has many years ago, but we're here to like change it and work on not making mistakes, and learning from them, and supporting those who are marginalized, are in the need of knowing Jesus, and just being that helping hand to someone is going to really show that you can be a Christian and a social worker, and can do those really well, and can really make an impact. So I think that's huge.
No, I really appreciate that perspective, and I often say, in this podcast is having a foundation, of a Christian worldview in your education. It actually allows you to acknowledge your potential bias. It allows you to, in some ways, in some capacities, explore areas of studies in a deeper fashion because you have that solid foundation of a Christian worldview to it. So yeah, no, thank you both for sharing. Um, well, speaking of sharing, I would appreciate if you guys could share, because some of the people that watch this will be high school students, or maybe they're a student at another school thinking of transferring to Redeemer, or they took a college program like you did, Andrea. What would you say to those students that are considering Redeemer for social work? Would you offer any advice to them? Andrea, we'll start with you.
I would say go for it, because it really has brought that community feel for me, that is so exciting. And, given recent years of the turmoil that we've handled, I feel like it really has brought out the aspect of togetherness and the importance of that and what that looks like. And I feel like that's what Redeemer is striving to be and is providing that community and having, those conversations around the dining room table, having devotionals fit into everyday life. And that is just part of the experience of being a Redeemer. So if that's what you're seeking, I would say go into it. Don't overthink it. Pray about it, and see where, if God is leading you this way, because I feel like it really has been such a transformative experience for me, as not only Redeemers values and what we are about, but also just having the opportunity to do God's work within the space already of my 4 years at Redeemer. So,
Marcel, what advice would you offer?
Yeah, like Andrea said, do it. Like I said before, like I wasn't planning on going into university. I did it. I've made like a lot of lifelong friends. Just again, as Andrea said, like the community at Redeemer is nothing like you'd get anywhere else. Living in community with people who have the same beliefs as you, or sometimes even like different beliefs. Like a lot of debates in my house about Calvinism.
Yeah.
So like, so just like it has the best community I think out there. Yeah.
That's awesome. No,
Just do it.
no, thank you both. I can't thank you guys enough. You've represented the social work program so well. And with that, I would love to get your take. This is a first time on the Redeemer podcast. We kind of had breaking news. So I don't know if I need to edit in some sort of sound effect if that was enough. But I'm going to bring it up here, and I'm really interested to get both your perspectives on this, but especially you, Marcel. I know you're studying at Dordt, and I'll just read this. It's a short article, and then I'll get you guys to react to it here. So they announced today on October, or I guess yesterday, October 3rd, I should say. We're recording on October 4th, but Transforming Communities for Christ, a partnership with Dordt University, creates a new pathway for students to advance in the social work profession. Redeemer University is announcing a new partnership with Dordt University in Iowa in the United States between its Applied Social Sciences program and Dordt's Master of Social Work, their MSW program. Students who graduate from Redeemer with a degree from the Applied Social Science Honors Program can fast track their path to an MSW at Dordt. The preparation that students receive at Redeemer will allow Dordt to waive some of the courses in the MSW program, which creates an opportunity for students to graduate early and save tuition. This partnership represents two institutions with similar perspectives working together to help students achieve their career and educational goals. says Dr. Erin Olson, chair of Dordt's MSW program. Marcel, do you know her?
No.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's okay. We're going to find out. Anyway, Dordt's Master of Social Work is offered 100% online, allowing students to participate from anywhere in the world. It's taught from a Christian perspective, supporting Dordt's missions to equip students to work towards Christ-centered renewal in all areas of life. Redeemer students are able to get a high-quality MSW degree from a Christian institution while remaining in their own communities. Says Olson, the MSW degree will help them further their social work education and career prospects while also helping them develop a Christian social work as Christian social work practitioners. That's awesome. Very exciting news. Again,
Yes.
this
What?
yeah, this is totally.
What?
So again, you guys, for anyone watching, they did not know I was going to be, sharing this as part of this episode. So let's maybe start with you, Marcel. You're in the Dordt, MSW right now, but now that it's a formal agreement between Redeemer and Dordt, what are your thoughts on it?
Honestly, it's absolutely amazing. Just the whole fast tracking part of the program in itself and being able to do it from my house is pretty awesome. I guess when I was applying, they've already were in the talks about all of this because they've already waived some of my courses.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you're
even before this
experiencing
came
this.
out.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so which is why I'll be finishing my master's at the end of December because a lot of my credits just transferred over, which is amazing. But yeah, from another Christian perspective, learning social work from that Christian perspective is amazing. I can't think of anything because I'm still in awe of that partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just insane the fast tracking all of the social work programs I've seen. MSWs at least they're at least 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this
No,
I'm finishing this in a year and a half.
Wow. That's a fantastic opportunity. I'm so glad, you can speak to it. And Andrea, now that you're in your fourth and final year of study, are you going to start looking at maybe getting your MSW?
I guess I'm going back to school again. Honestly, I'm why? Because I was there's no way. I'm not doing more school. No, I wasn't sure. And I have talked to others that are doing similar programs and Mercel herself. And I was I don't know. Can I do this? Can I do more school already? But that's so cool because I think being able to not have to move away again because that's hard on its own, and being able to have this partnership to fast track, it's hello, okay, you've sold me, because I feel even that's gonna make such a difference in terms of just being able to
Yeah.
get out there and even get more kind of experience, and having that partnership between the two, I think is really huge because I wanted to get my MSW anyway, but if I can do it in a very similar fashion than Redeemer, which I've loved,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm really thinking about it now, and I think that is so cool. I love the idea of being able to be part of something even bigger, and that alone is such a cool experience.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. And again, I want to look into it in more details and things like that. But appreciate that article coming out today, on Redeemer's website. And it just says it was written by Redeemer staff. So shout out whoever wrote this article. But Andreea and Marcel, this has been an absolute pleasure talking about social work with you guys. Thank you so much for coming on the Redeemer podcast. Can't thank you enough.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, it has been a blast. So I'm really excited about this conversation and what it's going to bring to both current and future students. because social work, I could be a little biased, but I feel like social work's kind
That's
of up
okay.
there.
We can
So I
acknowledge
think
bias. Yeah.
we're in for fun.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again for both of you coming on. And if you are thinking about, applying to Redeemer's social work program, you can definitely check out our website, redeemer.ca, and always you can email admissions@redeemer.ca, and we'd be happy to talk more about it. And if you're watching this, you want to know more about Redeemer's MSW partnership with Dordt University. I know I'm excited to learn more information about that. Feel free to reach out to us as well at admissions. So we will see you all in the next episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Redeemer University podcast. Thank you again to Mercel and Andreea for coming on and sharing their experience in regards to the social work program at Redeemer. We hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as we did. And if you would like more information about Redeemer, check out our website, redeemer.ca, and you can always connect with us by email at admissions@redeemer.ca if you're interested in applying or getting more info. God bless, and we'll see you in the next episode.